All right, happy 4th of July, everyone. We are at a very wonderful point right now. July 5th will start I say the final cycle here, going towards the end of 2012. What is going to happen at the end of 2012? So much speculation, and I'll give you my best knowledge, up-to-date knowledge, which is expanding all the time. It's not like I have a set viewpoint that doesn't change. It gets clearer and clearer and clearer. Okay, so with that in mind, there is likely to be, at the end of 2012, there's likely to be a splitting of the planet into different dimensional planets. Where we have one planet now, we're going to have three: higher dimensional, higher vibration, lower vibration, and then this vibration remains. Let's quickly deal with this planet as the vibration is now. What will happen to that? That's the planet that is going to experience the sun turning into a red giant, going to experience massive heat from the sun, radiation, and it's going to melt down. The elements are going to melt, and the planet's going to be reformed. So there won't be any of us dwelling in the vibrational planet that is the one that is right now. The dwelling places will be in a higher vibration or a lower vibration or some other dwelling place other than this planet that has similar vibrations to what is now, what's called third dimensional. The funny thing is, for me, none of these options interest me. But it is true that many here on this planet are going to go into the lower dimensional planet, which is why you see so many people here. I look at them and say, what in the world? What is their destiny? Where are they traveling to? You know, they're obviously on a path, on a pilgrimage somewhere. You know, they're all tatted up, and they listen to the death metal music, and they follow these stars, super celebrities who are so, going down into such degradation, and they watch movies and videos, and their whole culture is this dark, violent battle for survival. And I'd say, where are these pilgrims, my brothers and sisters, going? You know, they're obviously, like I said, on an intense pilgrimage. They are going into this lower vibrational planet, which is what they want. They want to experience, the wild, wild west on steroids. And they certainly get that, to say the least. Very primitive, barbaric conditions. And there's also those in this world who are on a pilgrimage, the indigo children and that type, who are on this pilgrimage to a spiritual utopia. Psychic, everyone has psychic abilities, and high technologies gets married with science and spirituality, high technology, a lot of healing, different healing modes. There'll be beautiful temples with sound and color healing and vibrational healing, all sorts of stuff like that. And so there are many that are going in that direction. And there are some who just say, no, this planet here, the way it is fine with me. We'll just stay in this mode. There's many who are that way. So maybe we'll say 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Again, staying on this planet in this vibrational mode that this planet's been in is that is really a dead end, because the planet is going to be remodeled. A magnetic wave from the center of the galaxy is arriving here shortly. It's going to cause the sun to expand, and that's going to cause this planet vibration to heat up, and everything's going to melt here. So the other options, lower vibrational planet, or the higher vibrational, so to speak, planet. But is there another option? Because I'm looking for some other option other than that. Because none of those really interest me that much. I've actually inquired into both those options, the lower dimensional and higher dimensional. In the lower dimensional, you have enclaves where the elite rule from, kind of like the fiefdoms that aristocracy had in the past. There will be very high elites in those enclaves, and there'll be those who serve them at all different levels of service to them. And but having looked at that very carefully, I said, you know what, that doesn't quite suit me. I mean, I've been invited to go live in these enclaves in the lower dimensional planet and provide all sorts of creativity and spiritual teaching and all this kind of stuff. But I'm saying that doesn't really, it's not really what I want, because the overall situation of the planet is very terrible, very degraded. And sure, there'll be these bubbles, these oases, enclaves, of very beautiful places. You can see the precursors of those in some of the resorts on this planet, which I've been to several. Gated enclaves, private golf courses, beautiful gardens, lush, super sophisticated art and textiles and living and all of that. And then these enclaves will be like that. But outside of these enclaves, it's going to be very primitive, and there will be some very bad stuff going on, to say the very least. And so these elites in these enclaves, this will be their fantasy of them being prime creators, ruling over this planet. On the higher vibrational planet, I've also inquired into that, seeing what kind of situation could I have there. But again, I've not come up with anything that really intrigues me, attracts me very much. It will be, the Silicon Valley is a good example of the higher dimensional planet where everybody, and living here, I can tell you that it's really nothing that interests me. It's kind of, again, it's an attempt to create a kingdom of our own making, through the use of science, imagination, technology, spirituality. It's examining the subtler aspects of energy, how to use all those different healing modes, vibrational healing, color, sound, light, all sorts of... it'll be a very sort of sophisticated, hedonistic place. Everybody feeling that they're kind of growing towards a group mind, group consensus. It sounds very spiritual, but in looking at it very carefully, you might say it is very spiritual, but it's not. It's still a fantasy. Okay, it's a beautiful fantasy, supposedly, but there's a lot of things about it that I had out in the past that it falls short of what we really are entitled to. It really does. It's kind of like a compensation or a substitute for what we're entitled to. It's kind of trying to make a place that is so wonderful that we won't really want to return to reality. Okay, the lower vibrational planet is to try immerse oneself in forgetfulness and brutality and dominance and all these physical, fleshy type of situations. So we forget who we are to such a profound point that we believe something magical will happen. And the higher vibrational is an attempt to make something so beautiful that we don't really want to remember what we are. So there's two different ways. It's two sides of the same coin, is what I've seen. And that coin doesn't really interest me. I've been able to see through it to a large extent. So we can talk about these things. It's important, very important, not to get attached to either of these options. Because there's the other option is to respond to unconditional love. See all illusion, all pretense, all imagination, all fantasy through the eyes of unconditional love, to see what I call the overlay, where unconditional love overlays all that is, all that arises in dreams. And by seeing this, seen unconditional love, one remembers reality, remembers true identity. One becomes reconciled, familiar, comfortable with true identity, true reality, which is direct experiencing, something that we cannot even talk about here. We don't need to, because the intermediate step is there. The step of remembrance is there. So this step of remembrance is something other than the higher vibrational planets or the lower vibrational planets. From my perspective, the higher vibrational, lower vibrational planets, again, are two sides of one coin. They're simply different ways to try and arrive at the same destination, which is for us to be prime creators, for spirit to be prime creator, which it is not. It's the prime created. One is to try to make a beautiful experience, a experience so satisfying, a fantasy so satisfying that we don't even want to remember what we are. And the other is to try and make a situation so steeped in forgetfulness and so terrible, so horrible, that we want to completely forget, what we are, out of just suffering and misery and horrible. The other is to forget out of, oh, how nice and luxurious this is. Two styles of trying to forget what we are. One is to immerse ourselves in the flesh to such an extent that we completely forget what we are. The other is to immerse ourselves in imaginings so completely we forget what we are. Subtle energies, so to speak. And I tell you, those are both two sides of the exact same coin of trying to forget what we are. Trying to forget what we are. So that we can be something other than what we are. So we can be prime creator. We're trying to change what we are. One way is to try to just go into extreme density and darkness. And so you say, I can't see anything but here. I want to... What the goal is to reach complete forgetfulness of what we are. An endpoint where forgetfulness then morphs into a new creation where we're prime creators. Now we can do that either by being distracted by some sort of attraction, a very beautiful attraction, or we can do it by going into dream revulsion, either revulsion or attraction. But neither one works. Neither one works. The only way that works is to allow one to respond to the overlay of unconditional love. It's an effect that's an unchanging effect. Check the effect that is not being modified. It's an effect that's not trying to be something other than what it is. So you might say the feeling of the isness. And that this transcends any world, any vibration, any energy. It's not an energy. It's not moving. Energy, by definition, is that which is doing something, right? Which is moving, which is changing. Energy without anything taking place is a meaningless statement. Love, unconditional love, is not an energy, it's an essence. And we can experience that essence, not by our senses, because our senses are part of the play of energy. See, the play of energy, whether it's a high vibration or low vibration, it's all still a play of energy. Reality is not a play of energy. It is a direct experiencing of essence. There's no modification of essence. Essence is not being modified. And we're so habituated and accustomed to the play of energy that we're just not able to, it's almost, we cannot even imagine what the play of essence is like. Our direct experiencing of essence, we cannot even imagine it, because imagination itself is energetic, energy-based. So we need to experience unconditional love. And I've spoken in many videos about this at great length. Okay, we don't have the time here maybe to go into it in great length because we're trying to talk about what is going to happen here. And my advice is to continue to insist on what you're entitled to. And you're entitled to experience unconditional love. Now, along these lines then, let's talk a little bit about satsang, which is the opportunity to be reassured of what you're entitled to. And the best way to start out satsang is to say that satsang will not succeed. Satsang itself will not succeed, which is to say that teaching will never succeed, which is to say that learning can never succeed. All right, all learning, all teaching, all satsang is a failure. But satsang is that which points this out. Even reason will tell you that reason itself comes up short. All learning, all teaching, all of it comes up short. Only experiencing unconditional love, only that is sufficient. Nothing else is. So, the goal of satsang is this realization that satsang doesn't work, meaning that teaching doesn't work, meaning that learning doesn't work. All learning is based on the premise that we can change what we are, and we're trying to learn how to do that. All healing is also based on the premise that what we are can be changed, and therefore we need to fix it. We need to correct it. We need to heal it. We need to learn how to make it whole. All of this is delusional. This is all reinforcing the notion that we can be prime creator. We can change what we are. It's just reinforcing it. So the ultimate realization is that none of this works. None of this teaching works. It will never work. This video here won't work. No teacher or no teaching will ever work for you. And it's a wonderfully stunning realization. This has been dawning on me over and over. And say, oh my gosh, this doesn't work. It doesn't matter if you listen to read A Course in Miracles, it doesn't work. I always wonder, this is not working. It doesn't work. You have satsang with Anandamayi Ma, Darshan, and it doesn't work. Ramana Maharshi, doesn't work. Nothing works. Because we're trying to learn. We're trying to get something from this. You can never get it. Okay, you can't get it. We cannot get it. We will never get it. Doesn't matter if we have Ramana Maharshi here, and Anandamayi Ma here, and Muji over here, and Punjaji here, and all these teachers here in front of us. We still won't get it. And we're reading A Course in Miracles, we won't get it. We'll never get it. We'll never get it. We can never get it. Because who is it that's getting it? The learning is trying to get it. We call what we think is the self is the learner. Okay, that which is trying to learn how to do it, how to get it. How can I get it? I mean, the learner, the learning. How can the learning succeed? It can never succeed. We call the learner learning the I. We say, who am I? It means this effort to learn how to be something other than what we are. And we can never learn that. We can never learn it. So our only options is to drop this effort. And in dropping it, we will simply be what we are. There's no effort or learning required to be what we are. So you can't get what you are. You can't learn what you are. You can only be what you are. So there is this so-called, well, there is just this impasse. We can't get it. I've never gotten it. Nobody's ever got it. And, God knows I've tried to get it. And God knows a lot of you have tried to get it as well. But the realization is we can't get it. We'll never get it. And I remember Muji talking about his time with Punjaji, and he got really mad. He got he reached a point he just got so furious with him because Punjaji was saying, you gotta drop your arrogance, that you can get it or something. And Mooji just had this incredible temper tantrum and just left. And then suddenly he realized, I can't get it. And that's okay because I already am what I am. And then he had this breakthrough at that point. He had self-realization at that point. But he went through this, this outrage first of not being able to get it. And he says, he realized Punjaji is not going to help him get it. And he was so angry and upset because he realized nothing. If Punjaji can't help him get it, nobody can help him get it. So that, and he's one of the fortunate ones that went through this and realized I don't have to get it. I already am that. I already am what I am. And we're all in the same boat. We can't get it. I get upset, the Course in Miracles, because I've studied it for so long and I still have no results. I've never had any results from it. Very interesting. Because I can't get it. The I precludes getting it. Learning precludes being. Okay? You can't learn A Course in Miracles. You can't go to darshan of a guru and get it. It'll never happen. And so we're frustrated. Of course, those on the spiritual path are very, very frustrated. Interestingly enough, those who are going to a higher vibrational planet, they're not frustrated because their standpoint, they are capable of creating, they're experiencing, and they'll create a beautiful, astral plane kind of experience, etc. But who is experiencing it? It's still a process they're involved in of getting it, of learning something better, how to get something better. But what we are requires no learning, requires no time, requires no imaging. And the real path is to get to this impasse, to arrive at this impasse and say, I can't get it. And abide in that, I'll never get it. I can't get it. I reached that last night. I felt that, and it was very profound. I was shocked into silence. I tried to make a video, but I couldn't really say anything. Because what can you say? All teaching is useless. It's futile. But coming to this point of seeing the futility of it all is necessary. So satsang is practically necessary. Teaching all the stuff we're doing, underlying it all, don't we have the feeling that, this is just not going to work? Everything I've done, a lifetime of spiritual effort, I know, so deep down within me, I know this isn't going to work. But I do it anyway. I say, gee, what options do I have? I don't know. I can either realize that nothing works, or I can try to make something work. And so there's still, the pressure of this world is so intense to try and learn that it's very difficult to realize learning is futile, and to say that and to teach it in this world. So we kind of play along with the ego and the agenda of learning, which is ultimately, again, trying to change what we are. What we are needs no learning. Doesn't need to. Learning entirely is based on the belief that we can change what we are. And why do we want to change what we are? Because we want to be prime creator. We want to experience being prime creator. And if we know what we are, if we're directly being what we are, we will know that we're not prime creator. We complete the prime creator, but we don't create the prime creator. We're not the prime creators. We're the prime completers. Just like cause is not completed until it has its effects, the prime creator is not completed until it has the prime creation, which is what we are. But we're trying to reverse that and be prime creator. All right. So we have to, of course, we cannot be what we are. With that idea, we have to try and change what we are. And so we go on this path of dreaming, of imagining a hypothetical scenario, of plausibility. And there's many different vibrations. The play of energy arises, which is the play of learning. And you know, this talk is, well, we're on this path of learning, a long path. We're learning to go higher and higher vibrations and learning to go back to source and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, that's all futile. So that the higher vibrational planet that is going to come about very soon, again, it will be populated by those who are trying to learn, you know, higher ways, so to speak. But that is also 100% delusional. Futile, let's put it that way. Path of futility. And there are some of us who are ready to see this, that all of this path of dance of energy where we think we're learning something is all nothing. So this quote-unquote higher dimensional world is no more interesting than the lower dimensional world, really. I mean, for me, I don't see any difference between the two of them as far as what's more interesting. Both of them have facets that seem interesting. Both of them have facets that are not interesting. And I mean, to me, they're equally blah, you know. Who wants to learn? I'm tired of learning, right? I don't want to learn anything. I'm not interested in learning. I'm not interested in a world of energy, play of energy at all. I don't care if there's, you know, a million dakinis who are all in putting on an endless fashion show. Yeah, beautiful movements and textiles and attractiveness, and everything is so lush and beautiful, and everyone is singing together and harmonizing and doing group activities, etc. It's still all learning. It's not directly being. In essence, it's still the play of energy. So there's really, that's all just blah. It's nothing. Satsang, and we have examples of that, like Punjaji was satsang, Ramana Maharshi was satsang, Anandamayi Ma was satsang, Muji is satsang. That is for the purpose of realizing that even satsang is, all learning is futile. Even learning in satsang is futile. All teaching is futile. Only experiencing unconditional love, only that enables us to remember what we are, reconciles us to what we are, to being, direct experiencing of being. It's an intermediate step. It's the overlay. It enables us to maintain, to still be within the realm of energy, but to be experiencing the overlay of all that energy with an effect that is unchanging, that is not playing, dancing, that is still, that is quiet, that is just essence. It's one effect. It's the effect of not trying to change what we are. So in other words, it's an effect that is not trying to be something different than what it is. And only that brings about our accepting our true functioning in reality, which is direct experiencing of essence, pure being, the play of pure being. That's a different play than the play of energy. We're trying to, in this higher vibrational worlds, we're trying to have a substitute, come up with a substitute. We're trying to have the play of energy so interesting that we'll say, you know, we've forgotten all about the play of being with essence. Forgotten it because we have this wonderful play of energy. That's what it's all about. That's what they're trying to do. And you can completely sidestep all of that by simply experiencing unconditional love. That is the sidestepping of it. It's also the sidestepping of the lower vibrational planets. For me, I just as soon as go to one as the other. I mean, I can't, you know, lower vibrational planet, well, you know, be some interesting stuff there. Higher vibrational planet, there'll be some interesting stuff there. Yeah, you know, it's like driving to the beach or driving to the mountains. You know, both are interesting, but both have their drawbacks too. Neither one is any closer to truth than the other. Both are 100% attempting to forget what we really are. Both of them, 100%. So it's like 0 and 0. You know, which one do you choose? Do you choose 0 or do you choose 0? Do you choose nothing or do you choose nothing? Do you choose meaningless here or meaningless there? You know, trying to choose between 0 and 0 is really waste of time, isn't it? It's a waste of time. And those in the lower vibrational worlds will think that they're closer to forgetting what they are than those in the higher dimensional worlds. And those in the higher vibrational worlds will think that they're closer to forgetting what they are than those in the lower dimensional worlds. So both of them are on an ego trip. It's both vibrational planets are on an ego trip. All right, the ego trip is the trip of thinking we can forget what we are and become something different than what we are, change what we are. And the change is, of course, we believe we can change ourselves into being prime creator. So, why spend time trying to choose which ego trip to go on? That's not it. We need to spend time coming to that realization that's all futile. I can never get it from Muji. I can never get it from A Course in Miracles. I can never get it from Eckhart Tolle or Adyashanti or Ganjaji or all the vast array of teachers in the world. I'll never get it from them. I'll never get it from A Course in Miracles. I'll never get it from the Bible. I'll never get it from any teaching, any book, any religion, any guru, saint, sage. I'll never get it from any of them. Because I can't get it. Because I is learning. Okay? We cannot learn to be what we are. We can only be what we are. Because learning implies a prior change. There's not been any prior change. That's an assumption. That's a premise. The I is built on the premise that there's been a change in what we are. It rests on that foundation, and that foundation is false. We've never changed. So how do we reconcile with the fact that we have never changed? Because the entire play of existence of energy rests on the premise that what we are has changed, that reality has changed, it's been altered, it's been modified in some way. It rests on that premise, and it's a false premise. Completely false premise. And how do we deal with that? Unconditional love, which rests on a different premise, the premise that nothing has changed in reality. That too is a premise, because we're not directly experiencing it, right? Reality doesn't need any premises at all. But when we accept the false premise, then we need to accept the true premise in order to cancel out the false one, right? In order to be reconciled back to no premise. We're so accustomed to functioning on a foundation of a premise that we are too frightened to drop all premises and rest and function on no foundation at all, just direct being. We're not able to make that leap. We can do it, but we're not willing to do it. We're reluctant to do it. We want to stick with some premise. So what we have to do is we have to take the premise that no modification has occurred in reality. Take that premise and experience the effect of that premise as a substitute as an exchange for the premise that there has been a modification in reality. So what we're really doing is we're exchanging premises, which is what the Course in Miracles is all about. That's what it tells us. We must do that. But it has to be exchange of premises. We can't get that as a learning. We can't learn that. We can't understand it and think that that understanding is it. Because that understanding still rests on the premise that a modification. We haven't switched premises yet. When we switch premises, we're responding to unconditional love, which is one effect. It's not a dance, it's not a play, it's a still, calm, quiet, gentle effect that overlays the whole play of energy. And only that can bring us back to functioning without any premise at all. Okay? It's very simple. And yet we need to stick with this. We don't need to worry so much about, are we going to a higher vibrational planet or a lower vibrational planet? Or are we staying in this vibration here? Because ultimately, that's all the same. There's still an I that's trying to get something. We're still trying to understand. We're still trying to learn. We're still trying to get it. We haven't switched premises. Going to a higher vibrational planet isn't switching premises. Just 1 minute. I'm being interrupted now. I'm just going to go to a blank shot here. Okay. Welcome back, welcome back. You see, I figured out ahead of time that if I'm interrupted, because there's no pause button here, if I'm interrupted, I'm just going to go to a blank shot and with no audio. And so I got up, left this area, and talked with somebody, and talked about the day, etc., and came back. How about that? I'm back. And I wonder if some of you hung in there, because it's a very, very great teaching situation. And again, ultimately teaching is futile, but it shows us something there, right? How to deal with distraction. As we talk about how everything, all learning is futile, there are, of course, those who don't believe that. And they will engage us, and they assume that teaching, learning is the way. It will work. And so we have to deal with that in some fashion. And that's the trouble in this world, is everyone here believes in learning or unlearning. Neither one is it. Still, the I is trying to unlearn. That's not it. Like the lower dimensional worlds are not interested in learning. They're just interested in physicality, which is kind of like unlearning, destructivity and unlearning. That's not it either, is it? As I said, so switching premises is the only answer. Switching premises from the belief that what we are, reality has been modified, to switching the premise to reality has not been modified. Another way of saying it, switching premises from trying to change what we are to not trying to change what we are. But it's a good way to talk about premises of the premise that we believe we've been able to modify reality, what we are, to the premise that we've not been able to modify. Switching premises is the only way. We can switch premises whether we're in a lower dimensional world or a higher dimensional world. It doesn't make any difference. I don't know. I really can't say at this point which is better. Both can be utilized. Because there's two paths, the path of pleasure, the path of suffering, so to speak. Both paths end up being futile. And neither one works. So no path works. Krishnamurti said it best, truth is a pathless land. There's no path to truth. Switching premises is not a path. It's a choice. And that's what we need to do. So the lower dimensional planet's a planet of suffering, death, violence, vampirism, cannibalism, hunting down. People will be hunting each other, killing each other. Decadence, tremendous dissipation, decadence and wickedness, degeneration, like Rome, like when Rome collapsed. The Roman Empire was very wicked, you know. Gladiators, blood sports, all of that stuff will be there, and just people just being sickening, you know, just gore, you know, horrible gore and horror and fear. And all of that, that'll be there. And yeah, we could switch premises there too. It's a path of suffering. I mean, miserable, dark, you know, horrible fear and misery and suffering and sickness, disease and death and violence and degenerate wickedness and all sorts of things that are disgusting and revolting. That'll all be there, totally there, and suffering, so much suffering there. And we can say, you know what, this isn't it. This isn't it. This isn't it. This is futile. And then we can switch premises. Or in the higher dimensional world, you have all this pleasure, you know, this sophisticated pleasure. You see that now in various places in the world. You know, the finest sophisticated wines, and everything is attenuated into higher and higher subtlety and beauty and group events, people trying to be very loving to one another and trying to create pleasurable situations. Everything's very pleasurable, very beautiful. And eventually there you realize this doesn't work either. This is futile too. There's a kind of ennui there. There's a kind of satiated feeling like, gosh, everything is so beautiful, and yet I still feel flat, you know. I mean, I can speak to this, living in what may be one of the most beautiful places in the world, one of the most privileged places in the world, and just, you know, I can take a Sunday drive and see nothing but mansions and gorgeous landscaping and dripping with wealth, and people very happy and very comfortable, having all the money and can take vacations wherever they want to, and all this, you know, and everyone's kind of, you know, very nice, and there's no violence, there's no none of that stuff, and there's no evidence of, you know, there's no crime, there's no fear, you know, everybody feels pretty happy and safe. Totally flat, you know, you feel this, like, there's just emptiness, something's missing. Yeah, so that's what happens in the higher vibrational worlds. You have this feeling eventually of emptiness, flatness, and you feel it's horrible, because you think, like, I have the best of everything. I'm dwelling in this higher dimension world, everything's great, and there's no crime, you know, there's beautiful days, the weather's perfect and everything, and yet I feel like I'm missing something. I can't put my finger on it. And you see that among the wealthy, the privileged. They reach sort of this ennui, the state of ennui, and then they get into drugs and drinking and overindulgence and all sorts of stuff. They're trying to say, and then they end up going down into lower dimensional worlds, trying to find more physicality or something. You know, it's common. The aristocrats would go out to dude ranches and be very physical out there. You know, they go to the Bohemian Grove or something, because they're trying to get rid of this ennui that they have. Have it all, and yet something's missing. That's scary. What's missing is we're not functioning the way we were created to function, which is direct experiencing and being, no premises at all. Direct. There's no premise, therefore there's no I. A premise gives rise to what we call an I. Ramana Maharshi says, inquire into who am I? And when you do that, you realize you come across a premise that reality can be changed. What is the identity, reality, being can be changed. You come across this premise. Out of that premise arises the belief that there will be some other being, an I. We call this supposition, this faith, this belief in some other identity as I. I meaning other than what I really am, what really is true being. So the premise that reality can be changed gives rise to this I, to this learning process, to this process of trying to establish an I. When we say I, we're saying we believe and have faith that we can establish a new identity, and that we need to work on it. Now, lower dimensions are working on it in survival of the fittest. You know, whoever, let's just everyone try to kill each other, and whoever survives, that will establish the new I. Higher dimensional worlds is trying to say, let's all work together and cooperate, and through this cooperation we'll be able to establish a new I, a new self, a new being. Both of them are equally delusional. There is no way to establish a new identity. Both ways are zero. And attempting to mix both ways is also zero, which is what this planet is right now. This planet now is an attempt to mix the higher frequencies and the lower frequencies. Because, why? Because those who've been engaged in higher frequencies and those who've been engaged in lower frequencies, both of those realized neither one works. And so what they did was they tried to blend those frequencies, and this planet that we've been on, this experiencing here, has been that experience of trying to blend the two, a blend of the two, the higher frequency and the lower frequency, which is why this planet seems so weird, you know. And then we realized the blending doesn't work either. So what's happening now? Going back into separating the two frequencies. Saying, wow, let's try the higher frequencies again, or let's try the lower frequencies again, because this blending just doesn't work. None of those three options work. The great realization that we can have now is that none of those work. The higher frequencies don't work, the lower frequencies don't work, blending the higher and the lower don't work. That is literally, I tell you, this experience that we've been having on this planet is the best, because we realize that none of it works. We can realize that even the blending doesn't work. We're at a point now where we can truly switch premises. This is what A Course in Miracles tells us. Switch premises. We can do it. And it doesn't say anything about the higher and lower vibrations and the different worlds and what's going to happen, because that's not it. Switching premises is it. Experiencing unconditional love, which is the effect of the premise that reality cannot be changed. Unconditional love is that effect of that premise. And we can experience that. And we experience that, we are truly freed of higher frequencies, of lower frequencies, and the attempt to mix, and the mixture of the higher and lower. We're freed from all of it, because we're experiencing the overlay of all of it, of all frequencies. All frequencies are overlaid, because love is not a frequency. Unconditional love is not a frequency. It's not an energy. It's an essence. I don't know if what I said is accurate there or not. I'm thinking about it. if it's an effect of a premise, perhaps we cannot go so far as to call it an essence. I don't know. We'll see. That's to be determined. Okay. The fact is, it's there. It's not changing. It's not moving. It's nirvana without movement. Nirvana is the way to be free. The vision of Christ is the way to be free. Peace beyond understanding is the way to be free. Seamless oneness is the way to be free. Experiencing that, responding to it. Not I am responding to it, but there's simply a responding to it. No I is experiencing it, because it's not being learned, it's not being understood. It's deeper than learning, it's deeper than understanding. It's as if you're saturated through and through. It's like being felt or experienced, but not an I feeling it or experiencing it. It's just there. It is. It's everywhere. Everywhere equally. And you might say, how can I learn this? It cannot be learned. How can I understand this? It cannot be understood. It can only be appreciated. It can only be abided in. Can't be taught. Cannot be taught. Why? Because it can't be learned. Because there's no modification taking place. The premise is that there is no modification, so therefore there's nothing to learn. How can we learn that there's nothing to learn? You have to drop learning altogether, right? And when you drop learning, what do? Abidance. Anandamayi Ma was unlearned. She couldn't read really, couldn't write, barely write or read or write. Had read no books, had no learning whatsoever. She simply was abiding in unconditional love. Ramana Maharshi was abiding in unconditional love. He wasn't interested in giving out any teaching. Anandamayi Ma never wrote a single book. Nothing. I think the only time she wrote, she wrote her signature, which was kind of scrawled a signature. Said no writing. She gave no books, nothing like that. Simply abided in unconditional love to show us this is the way. This is the way. Ramana Maharshi just abided in the self, meaning this overlaid unconditional love. Just abided in that, saying this is the way. Give up learning, give up understanding, give that up, and abide in this unconditional love. So this is the way, this is the way. And some of you may be experiencing what I'm experiencing, whereas I feel kind of like bad, because I see, I have equal attraction to the lower frequencies and the higher frequencies and the blending of those frequencies. I can't choose. I'm not able to choose between any of those. So I don't feel like, I'm this galactic superstar that I'm ascending into the higher frequencies, and I will know what love is all about and all this stuff. I don't feel that way. Because I can't choose between any of those, because they're all equally zero. I can go to a satsang, and I can go to these higher frequency love-ins or whatever places and do that. I can go play golf on an enclave of the elite. I can sit here in just a so-so place, where nothing's happening really, just a nice pleasant place, and do that. It's all the same. I don't see any difference. None of it really attracts me. It's all flat, equally flat, because there's this real reality it's calling. So if you may be one of those who say, gosh, I don't know where I fit in. I could fit into the lower frequencies, I could fit in the higher frequencies, I could fit into the blending of the frequencies, and yet I know I won't really feel like I fit into any of those places. That's because you fit into satsang, which is realizing the futility of trying to fit in anywhere. You'll never fit in anywhere. I will never fit in anywhere because it's based on a false premise. And a false premise will never fit in with reality. The premise that reality can be changed will never fit in with reality. So really we're at an impasse where we have to exchange premises, which is what A Course in Miracles tells us. A Course in Miracles is actually very useful teaching in that it just points out to us what we must do. That teaching and learning, etc., isn't it. We'll never succeed. We have to exchange premises. That is true. That is accurate. And again, understanding this is futile. Learning this is futile. Learning the Course is futile. Understanding the Course is futile. Loving a guru is futile. Having darshan of a guru is futile. Many try that. You know, they find a guru and they try to learn to love the guru. That's futile. That's a muji is going on. You know, so many are trying to love muji. It's futile. It's futile. That's not it. One has to exchange premises where the love is equally distributed everywhere. Okay? Trying to find some charismatic guru and then trying to love that guru, that again is all based on the we can love, trying to establish that, and we think, here's this wonderful guru. I can learn to love, to be what I truly am, because I can establish a new identity based on this love that I feel for the guru. There again, 100% delusional, based on the premise of being able to change what we are. Because unconditional love is equally distributed everywhere. Perfectly present everywhere, without any distinction, without any conditions, any requirements. One will see the guru in unconditional love. One will see dust in unconditional love. Plants, animals, people, everything equally, equal vision. All is equally overlaid by unconditional love. And I guess those who are trying to learn to love the guru, eventually they come into that impasse too. And they realize this is futile. And they'll get mad at the guru, and maybe at that point they will realize, this is futile. And drop it. And then see unconditional love, which extends equally everywhere. To animate and inanimate. All times, all places, all situations. And then we abide in that unconditional love. Anandamayi Ma told us that she felt equal love for all. Someone asked her, your husband, I don't feel more love for him. She says, he said he may get upset at this, but the truth is, no. She says, I feel as much equal love for a speck of dust that you see floating in the air as I do for my husband, or as I do for any of you, my devotees. That is truth. That is truth. She abided in unconditional love, and that is the confession of unconditional love. She confessed it to her devotees, even to her husband, saying, look, I feel equal love to you as a piece of excrement, as dust, as space, as air, as plants, as everything. No difference whatsoever in how I feel, because I'm experiencing unconditional love, which comes from the premise that reality cannot be changed at all. What we are cannot be changed at all. Therefore, there's no need to experience any modification, any learning, any differentiation at all. This reminds us, we remember what we really are then, as being. So we have had true witnessing to this abiding in unconditional love here. We know we can do it, and we know it's the answer. It is the answer. Going into lower vibrational world is not the answer. Going into higher vibrational world is not the answer. Staying in a world that is going to a world that is a blend of vibrations is not the answer. I mean, this planet here is going to be remodeled. I've seen it. There's going to be heated up. But there are many dwelling places where there's a attempt to blend the two higher and lower frequencies, and we can go there, and that's not it either. So no matter where we go, where I go, it's not it, because the learner is still there. The premise of learning is still there. The faith and belief in learning is still there. Again, I is simply a plausible goal. Ramana said, inquire into I. What is I? It's a plausible goal. It's the goal of plausibility. We can establish a new identity, and we cannot. And learning, in some way, is the attempt to do that. Either learning or not learning. But not learning is still the same thing. It's still an attempt to forget what we are. So we're trying to learn to forget. See? Learning to remember and learning to forget is still learning. Both are futile. I mean, you know, we may struggle with this, but it's not that big of a struggle. Again, I say, we can forget by trying to degrade our situation and suffer, or we can forget by trying to elevate our situation. It's like we can live in a rundown shack or a beautiful mansion. Both are the same. We're both trying to forget what we are, just different ways of doing it. By living in a beautiful mansion, we believe, you know, this is wonderful. This is reality. This is home. This is what I am. This is it. And I've forgotten what I am completely because this is so nice. Or living in a terrible, rundown shack. They say, wow, this is reality. This is home. This is what I am. I've completely forgotten what I am because this is so different. Okay? So different. The play of modification, the play of change, the play of energy is so completely other than reality that no matter what we're experiencing in the play of a dance of energy, we're in a state of severe forgetfulness of what we are. Doesn't matter if we're in a mansion or a shack, same thing. I've been to both types of places, because this world is a blend of that. I mean, I've seen many, shacks, hovels, lousy places, and I've been in some of the finest mansions, beautiful mansions, beautiful places. For me, I feel the same, no difference. Still dissatisfied. There's still an emptiness, still a feeling that something isn't right. You can go out on a cow pasture, and play golf on a cow pasture. Or you can go play golf on a finest private course. Same thing, something's missing. That's it. I am still here and I am unhappy. This I has not yet been attained. The goal hasn't been reached. And I still don't know how to reach it. You can go out on the finest manicured golf course. I've been on a few where you feel like you're in paradise, and yet you come away from that and say, wow, beautiful, but I still don't know how to reach the goal, to realize what I am. I still don't know how to get there. This didn't provide the way. It gave me a nice buzz, of beauty, but I still don't know how to get there. Same thing with a lousy place. You think, maybe I can get it here in this darkness. I can find the way. Still, you don't know the way, because there is no way. You can't find the way because there is no way. And is no way also isn't the way. Which a blend of the two, meaning, well, there is no way, so let's just blend the two. That isn't the way either. There is no way. Under the premise that reality can be changed, there is no way at all. Will never be a way to rest upon that premise in peace. There will always be dissatisfaction. I don't care if you're in a higher vibrational planet or a lower vibrational planet or a mixture of the two, you will be dissatisfied. And you will cloak that dissatisfaction. In the higher dimensional world, you're very busy with, all this upgrading. And in a lower dimensional world, you're very busy with just trying to survive. Same thing. You're just simply distracting yourself from this dissatisfaction, this primal dissatisfaction. You can go into primal scream therapy and scream, which I did. I did that, and you just try to scream out your dissatisfaction. Does that work? No, it doesn't work. I went to all sorts of therapies. None of them work. I've been in so many different therapies, so many different treatments, so many different satsangs, so many different teachings, all these things, none of them work. I guarantee you, none of them work. They never will work. Because the dissatisfaction is still there, because your experiencing is resting on a premise that what you are can be changed. And that's a false premise. And therefore you are not functioning as you were created to function, which is direct experiencing in being directly experiencing essence. That is what we really are. That is our functioning. And in doing so, we're completing the prime creator. The causation, completing the causation. That's how creation is. Creation is. So what do we do? Well, satsang. Placing faith in that and continuing very quickly to accept the futility of it all, to hear this. There's no therapy we can ever go through that will work. No therapist will succeed with us. I had a therapist once says, you're hopeless. You can never be helped. I wanted to see, if they could help. And I realized, okay, yeah, this doesn't work. This doesn't help, right? So there was a great truth in that. No therapy will ever work. I was seeing, I'm dissatisfied. How can we get rid of this dissatisfaction? Is there any way? Any way in a lower degraded dimensional world? I've gone through those types of experiences. In a higher dimensional world, I've gone through those experiences. Any in mixing the two, gone through all that. Any therapy that'll work, any treatment that'll work, any medicine that'll work? No, none of it works. And what does that leave us? Kind of in silence, doesn't it? Sort of in stunned silence. But switching premises does work. Because from switching premises, we will experience unconditional love. The peace beyond understanding, that seamless vision of oneness. We will be aware of that everywhere. It's not that our awareness has been healed. No, awareness has never been harmed. It's what we're aware of. We're aware that it's equally everywhere. It's like, wow. No drug can ever get that for us. No manufactured drug in a lab, no natural drug from nature will ever get that for us. Drugs don't work. I know there are a lot who have tried that path too. And I tried a little bit of that path enough to know, this doesn't work either. You don't want to be stupid. When you're trying out these various modes of what works, can I find something that works? You have to be very intuitive about this and be able to generalize and see, this doesn't matter how far I go down this path, it's not going to work. I better try something else, and cover the whole ground. I covered the whole gamut of situations by not getting, being stupid about it. So a lot of people are still trying drugs over and over and over, and they say, if I just get the right combination of drugs, or the right day, or the right place, or the right company, or the right purity, or I need to get something from the highlands of some South America country, and it needs to be harvested the right way with the right love and the right intention, handled by the right people. I need to be in the right place. Everything has to be perfect. And if all that happens, then this drug trip is going to be it for me. This is going to be it. And they're still trying that, going to the ends of the earth, trying to find the right shaman to initiate them, something like that. They're still trying it. But there are others who say, well, wait a minute, no matter what I do on this path, it's not going to work. So that's a waste of time. So they check other stuff out, and they say, oh, that's a waste of time too. That's a waste of time. Even going to see Muji, for instance, in satsang is ultimately a waste of time, except that in satsang, you can realize it's a waste of time, and you can realize everything is a waste of time, because I will never be realized. And Muji is, like, for instance, Muji is not afraid for that realization to take place. I assume this. I can't speak from direct experience that this is so. I mean, this is his testimony. I would assume it. I guess of any guru, you have to assume it is the case until you actually switch premises and realize that I can never get it. Then we'll see. My feeling with Anandamayi Ma is she was absolutely genuinely abided in this, and it didn't bother her at all if somebody else had the same realization, same abidance. That is my genuine feeling, my faith and belief that that was absolutely 100% so with her. There was no ego trip at all with her, no spiritual ego trip at all. She absolutely simply abided in the continual experiencing of unconditional love, and that was all that she was experiencing. So for her, everyone was already that. But again, it is a faith and a belief and an assumption on my part, as it is on everyone's part, until they actually switch premises and actually experience that unconditional love. Otherwise, we're, assuming that these teachers are what they say they are, and that they are not trying to get us addicted to satsang, that they really want to free us from satsang. In the case of Anandamayi Ma, absolutely, I felt on her part zero attachment to satsang, zero attachment to teaching, zero attachment to witnessing here. No attachment to it whatsoever. No attachment to any mission. No attachment to any historic efforts on her part. She wasn't attached to her teaching, to who she was, to her legacy. Zero. Nothing. And feeling that, it's like, wow. Knocked me over. Knocked me out. Knocked the I out. Knocked the effort towards establishing I as an enlightened I, some enlightened being. I am enlightened. Knocked that out. I said, that's not it. So, fortunate are those who find a teacher, a satsang, where the teacher, the facilitator, the satsang, the goal is to free you from satsang, to free you from them, free you from the teacher, free you from the teaching, free you from satsang. Fortunate are those who come across that. I had a dream last night. I came across a teacher in the dream. I've never seen this teacher before. And I believe they were established in this unconditional love. And I asked, can I sit next to you here? And they said, yeah. Didn't say anything, just nodded. I didn't feel any attachment to being a teacher, to giving satsang, nothing. And there were others who were looking up to this teacher. I was sitting next to the teacher. And somehow I got it, and the teacher just said, yeah, you can sit right here. If that's where you want to sit, fine. And there were others down below looking up, because they wanted to worship the teacher. They wanted to learn to love the teacher, all this. And the teacher was fine with that too. See, that's where they want to be. That's okay. If you want to be where I am, that's okay. If they want to be down there looking up to me, that's okay. Didn't make any difference to them one way or the other. It was like a middle-aged man, the appearance of. Kind of young in appearance, but still, I don't know, maybe in their late 30s or early 40s or something like that. Could even be a little older, but just totally relaxed. Smiling, not saying much, maybe just casual talking, smiling, and completely calm, completely relaxed, completely unconcerned. I literally had the darshan, the experience of that last night. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't overwhelming. I just kind of looked, can I mind if I sit next to you here and just sit here? And is that okay? Sure. Yeah. Smiled, nod. Because they knew what my intention was. I don't need any teaching. I don't want any teaching. I want to get free of teaching. I want to realize it's futile. And I feel in that with this teacher, like, they know it's futile. They know the futility of it. So those who want to realize that, of course, realize this. And it's not even a realization, it's a non-realization. It's not even a non-realization. It's neither realization nor non-realization. It is a switching of premises, and it's simply abiding in unconditional love. The realization is still not it. The realization that it's all futile is still not it. And it's still, and saying, well, there's a non-realization of it, that's still not it either. Nothing is it except abiding in unconditional love. And that's not it. It's simply an abiding in it. An abidance in it, an awareness of unconditional love. That's equally everywhere. And you see, the real guru is not threatened by you realizing that unconditional love rests on the guru and it rests on a speck of dust equally. They're not afraid of that, because there is no I there. It's just the being, the awareness is experiencing unconditional love. So they're happy that you see that love is everywhere. The guru isn't special at all. There is no such thing as specialness to unconditional love. Now those who are worshiping the guru, they're trying to promote specialness in some way, in my opinion. They say that you, guru, are special love. You have more. Love rests on you more than it rests on others. And we want to understand, how can we get love to rest on us more than on others? And so there's a distancing there. The guru is up high, they're down low. They have to, in order to learn something, there has to be belief there's something higher and something lower. In order for specialists, there has to be a higher and a lower. But in the dream, we were sitting on this wall, and the guru was sitting on it. I just came up and said, do you mind if I sit right where you are here? I said, yeah, absolutely. Feel free. I didn't feel any awkwardness or anything. So in other words, I wasn't placing myself down lower so there could be something higher. So I could see the guru's special, that there's a special amount of love resting on the guru, as opposed to unconditional love, which rests on all equally. So it was a very encouraging dream. You know, that maybe I've reached this impasse, you know. This impasse is here and it's being accepted. There's an acceptance of it. Come on, keep recording here. It's a little choppy here. That's okay. Well, this is a good time. We've gone along here. How long have we gone? Hour and 18 minutes. I feel really good. Very positive about this this sharing here. That it's the right way. It's the best way to look at the situation for some. For those who want to look at it this way, it's a really good way to look at it. Obviously, for those who are trying to, by an enlightened eye or unenlightened eye, it won't be it. It won't be it, because they want to see things differently, which is okay too, because love, unconditional love, rests on that equally as well. Okay, let's see if we can get this uploaded to YouTube. That's always the goal here, right? Using Ustream to record this, because YouTube continually says, something went wrong. Would you like to try again? It's amazing. So I cannot rely upon it. But this is working fine for our purposes. Thank you, Ustream. And again, thank you, YouTube, for hosting these videos, even if your webcam uploader isn't working right now. This is a blessing to be able to share all this. And we'll keep going and keep accepting this impossibility, this impasse, this futility. Keep accepting it and realizing that even this acceptance isn't it, and yet it is close to switching premises. It's time well spent here. I feel that way. We've spent our time very, very well this 4th of July morning. And rest of the day, I don't know what I will do. Who knows? Maybe do some more recording. Very great. Okay, that's it.